January 1947. Los Angeles was still recovering from the war, but soon it would be haunted by one of the most brutal murders in American history, a case that would come to define the city's dark heart. I'm Esther, host of Once Upon a Crime, and this is part 4 of Broken, the Black Dahlia murder, the lost week. Before we dive in, don't forget, this is just a taste of this week's case. You can hear the full story, every detail, and every twist on the Once Upon a Crime podcast. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Get all the links on our website, truecrimepodcast.com. Elizabeth Short was 22 years old. She was searching for adventure, for romance, for a place to belong. In early January, she was living with a family she had become acquainted with in San Diego, the Frenches, but time was running out. That's when she met Robert Red Manley. He was a salesman from Los Angeles, 26 years old, married, and a new father. He spotted her one afternoon at a bus stop and took note of her dark curls, pale skin, and movie star poise. He pulled over and offered her a ride. At first, she ignored him. Then she turned, half smiling, and asked, "Don't you think it's wrong to ask a girl on the street to get in your car?" But she ended up accepting the ride and an invitation to dinner. They went out that night, dinner, dancing, and sandwiches at a drive-in. He said she was polite, but distant, cold, he told reporters later. When he admitted he was married, she didn't blink. She said she'd been married too, to a Major Matt Gordon who'd been killed in the war. When Red left town, he couldn't stop thinking about her. On January 7th, Red sent her a telegram. "Coming down, would like to see you. Signed, Red." When he arrived, she was waiting, suitcases packed. Dorothy French had asked her to move out. Beth needed a way to get to Los Angeles, and Red was her ticket there. They spent that night dancing again. But when they got back to his motel, her mood changed. She said she didn't feel well. It was her time of the month. She sat up all night, wrapped in his coat, shivering against the wall. The next morning, Red made his sales calls and came back to pick Beth up at noon. She had dressed carefully. A black suit, white blouse, black suede heels, and a beige coat borrowed from a friend, Ann Toth. They loaded her bags and began the drive north, toward Los Angeles. On the way, she asked if she could write to him. He gave her an alias, Red Morris, and his work address. When they reached downtown Los Angeles, Beth told him she was meeting her sister at the Biltmore Hotel. It was a lie, but Red didn't know that. They stopped first at the Greyhound station to check her luggage. Then he drove her to the hotel. He even asked the desk clerk if Mrs. Adrienne West, Beth's sister, had arrived. She hadn't. Beth smiled, said goodbye, and disappeared into the lobby. It was 7 p.m., January 9th. It was the last confirmed sighting of Elizabeth Short alive. A week later, January 15th, her broken body was found in a vacant lot on Norton Avenue. It shocked the police and the public. The murder soon took on a life of its own. At the same time, it took over newspaper headlines. In large, bold font, they proclaimed it the Black Dahlia murder. Police quickly focused on the man who'd last seen her, Robert Red Manley. Detectives Harry Hansen and Finus Brown interrogated him for hours. They retraced his drive, examined his car, searched his San Diego hotel room. Red told them everything. He swore he'd left her alive. He even volunteered for a lie detector test and passed. By week's end, police cleared him. But to the public, Red Manley was still guilty. The married man, the secret lover, the last to see the Black Dahlia alive. The investigation ended, But Red's nightmare didn't. He couldn't sleep. He heard sirens in his dreams. By spring, the census listed him as unable to work. His wife Harriet had him admitted to a veterans hospital. His mind had fractured. By 1954, Red began to believe that he might have killed Elizabeth Short. Under sodium pentothal, truth serum, he confessed again. But the doctor shook his head. "I'd stake my professional reputation," he said, "that Manley could not and did not kill Betty Short." Harriet divorced him. He spent the rest of his life in and out of hospitals. Robert Red Manley died in 1986, still haunted by a murder he didn't commit. But Red wasn't the only man under suspicion. Detectives soon turned their attention to others. Gordon Fickley, the wartime sweetheart. Sam Navarra, the jealous boyfriend she told Red had been mean to her. Michael Otero, Carl Balsinger, and finally, Mark Hansen, the powerful nightclub owner whose address was found among her belongings. Each of them had a story. Each of them had a secret. And each could have been the killer. Join me next time for a special bonus episode of Broken, the Black Dahlia murder, as we uncover the full suspect list, the lovers, the liars, and the men who kept her secrets. Who were they? What did they hide? And which one came closest to the truth?